yourself this question: how clean is that nail spa that you're going to? I'm asking myself that as I speak. Unfortunately, a lot of the nail spas and nail salons we go to, it's not governed by law. Actually, I don't think there is a law in most countries that governs the sanitation of nail spas in particular. And for whatever reason, I don't know, but all I know is that we should do the most to protect ourselves. Although we're a paying customer, but there's a lot of things that these NSS salons, NSS spas, I just learned that term, standing for non-standard salons, and they don't quite adhere to the procedures or the practices that they would practice with a certified technician, because their technicians may not be certified. They may be good, but they are just not certified. So here's a bunch of things that I tend to look out for, and maybe sometimes I have to enforce myself. That means bringing my own tools, my own nail polish, or making sure that they do certain steps, because I don't want to die. Okay, so they used to call me a neat freak, a clean freak at the nail spa that I used to go to, and it's quite disturbing because, in my opinion, it just means how little they care. But in their opinion, they may find me just a picky customer or whatnot. But despite the fact that they call me a clean freak, I still insist on keeping my body, away from possible harm. So I will make every effort to keep myself from infections and diseases as a result of some poor practices at nail spas, be it by accident or if they forgot, whatever. Okay, so here's some things that I look for. This may not be all of them, but this is enough to get you started. Again, if there's anything to add to the list, just let me know. Okay, first of all, I look at the UV sterilizers for their tools. It looks like a little oven. Sometimes it's like a little one. You can see like the UV light. A lot of them actually use them, and I learned that to put the tools in there, it has to stay for a certain period of time, depending on the brand of the sterilizer. The bulbs have to be changed every number, after a certain number of hours. I didn't know that, but now I know, because I've seen that some technicians actually put their tools in there for a few minutes, and then the next one would actually take it out and use it right away. So that's the same as not putting it in there, because it requires an X amount of time for it to be good. Also, barbicide. That's a liquid, the bluish, the greenish liquid that they soak the tools in, the ones that you find at a barber shop where they soak their combs and brushes into. It's the same thing. Same concept. That solution has to be changed every now and then, and the tools have to be soaked in there for a certain period of time for it to take effect. Also, alcohol. We see it very often. They have like a spray bottle of alcohol. They would spray it on their tools before use. Now, ask yourself, did it reach all the hard to get into places for the scissors, the nippers? And I know for some pedicure tools, they still use the I don't know what that thing is called, but it has a sharp blade. Is to remove calluses. They banned it in a lot of they banned it in a lot of places because it's not the best tool to use, and it opens a lot of doors for infections and contaminations. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that the alcohol doesn't get into a lot of the hard to get into places because they're only spritzing it for a few times, so it may not be enough. And where I'm living right now for these couple of years, I live in Taiwan, but I've been to some of the salons, say in China, for example. To save money, I've seen salons replace that alcohol with water, or even dilute it. I'm not going to get into that, but that's just something that you should think about. Metal tools, that applies to the scissors, the nippers, the cuticle pushers. Do they have separate ones for hands and feet? You should look at that. Again, with the cross contamination and stuff, because a foot fungus, athlete's foot, whatever, it can easily transfer to another client's hands. And also, are they sterilized thoroughly? Ask yourself that. Files and buffers, many of us don't know, but it should be used for one time. It should be disposed of after one use. And I think most salons don't do that. But I have made a lot of recommendations to a lot of my friends who own a salon to invest in a separate set of files and buffers for different clients, because it doesn't cost that much. It's okay to use it a few times, like to reuse it a few times for that same client, because you can't sterilize them. So it's not okay to use it for another client, because you do get in contact with skin or sometimes even wounds because they nip you accidentally or there's just an open wound. Who knows? It's not meant to be used over and over again, especially for different clients. But what they can do is to cut up that file or to cut up that buffer so that they're only using that small part and they're throwing it away after, so it's more economically efficient for them. But anyways, that's what it is in a nutshell. Also, towels, the ones that they're using for, say, for example, your manicure, your pedicure, to line the tables, to actually, to put under your hands. I've seen a lot of salons do it, and I stopped going to those salons, is that you can see that their clippings are on the towels, be it from yourself or from other clients, and they would just wiggle it. They would just kind of, wiggle it out, and they would use it again right away. Ooh, scary. I don't even have to go into that. And also talking about towels, some facilities where they wash these towels, it's not the cleanest. I've seen a few documentaries that actually talk about these facilities. When they open up the washing machine, there's actually condoms, diapers, feces, food, cigarette butts. There's all sorts of garbage in there. So you gotta make sure that they're sending their towels to a legit facility to be sanitized and to be taken care of. And a lot of times we can't tell, like, because the towels are just right there. But sometimes just ask, just in case. Or but even that probably wouldn't protect you all the time, because they might lie. Or just bring your own towels. I bought my own. Okay, nail polishes. Generally, they're safe, but in some rare cases, skin or nail conditions can be contagious through the contamination of the brushes or the polishes itself, because the polishes itself, it doesn't contain any disinfectant. It does contain a lot of solvents, but it may not be good enough to kill the germs and the bacteria. So for me, I have my own nail polish. I bought it every time I go. So you can imagine how much I have at home. The tools, the nail supplies, the nail polishes that I have at home is good enough to open a shop for like 4 to 6. That's how much I have. But of course, you don't have to go that crazy. But at least have a small set for yourself. Okay, nail drills, or also known as the electric files, that's for nail enhancements. When they grind or when they file your nails, the one that goes zzz, that one, the metal drill bits have to be sterilized properly. And also the sand bits, that's the disposable ones that looks like a little sand grinder on top of it. Those ones can be thrown out after each use, because those are dirt cheap. They're like a few cents each. There's no reason for them to reuse it for different clients, although you see it all the time. So tell them politely, to get you a new one. If they don't, refuse to have them file your nails using a sand bit that has been used by someone else, because with the drilling or the filing of your nails, it's so easy that they actually miss and actually maybe file a part of your skin, and that's when the contamination and all that ugly stuff comes in. And also for foot baths, ask yourself, are there fresh liners used every time? And are there holes inside the liners? Because some salons, they would use bags, like garbage bags or plastic bags, and it's so easy to poke a hole in there. And are the drain holes or the jacuzzi holes, are they properly cleaned? Knowing that the gunk inside can be trapped inside the metal covers, and they're not cleaned and sanitized after each client. Most of the time it's not. Sometimes I've actually seen spas, they've never cleaned it. When you ask them, they're completely oblivious to it. They don't even know that you can actually take out the metal drain hole cover. They don't even know that you can clean what's behind it. It's kind of scary. Also, last, nail fans and nail UV lamps. Are they cleaned and wiped and sterilized after each client? And do they have separate ones for hands and feet? Again, the cross contamination can come in just like that. So that's about it. So if there's anything else you'd like to add to this, send me a message and I'd gladly just pile this onto the list right here. See ya.